Hey everyone, Jason here with Global One Defense. Hey, glad to see you. Welcome back to the fourth installment of Pistol Weapons Malfunction. Take a look at the previous weeks. We did a Class 1, which was a failure to fire, Class 2, which is failure to eject, Class 3, failure to extract, and today we're going to do a Class 4 and a squib round. What's a Class 4 malfunction? Class 4 malfunction is called an out-of-battery malfunction. What happens is, and you know, before we start there, just to show you, we have empty brass casings, we have empty magazines, we have empty firearms, visually, physically inspected. That one's unloaded. We've got my standard Marine Corps America gun, visually, physically inspected, and it is also unloaded. So an out of battery is when you fire your firearm, it cycles, and as it's going forward, it doesn't quite fully seat, okay? You know, you got your barrel sticking out, you've got your guide rod sticking out a little bit, you got a little space here, and it's just not all the way forward, okay? So there's two schools of thought here, and either one is perfectly valid. It's been trained, I've trained it, I've taught it. The first one is just pushing it back into battery. And you know, the more you shoot, the more you get to know what your firearm does. You understand that when it makes a certain click or it makes a certain sound or you feel it, you can understand what's going on with your firearm. Even in a crisis situation, the more critical incidents that you're involved with, the more your brain could process. But for most of us who've never been involved in a shooting, you could have sensory overload, right? So let's not get complicated and somehow think that in a crisis situation, I'm going to feel my gun and automatically know what's going on. We're going to keep it simple. So first off, if for whatever reason you're shooting and you recognize and you know that it is an out of battery, you take the palm of your hand, you butt the back of your slide, and you just push it back into battery. Why could this happen? Could happen for a couple reasons. Maybe you have a weak spring in your weapon. With my 1911, I ended up having to get a heavier spring. It was worn out, and I just kept having out of battery. Put a heavier spring, a new one, driving that thing home every time now. So get to know your firearm. So that could be it. You could have a low powder burn on the previous round. You could have a bad magazine. Who knows why? Or you could limp wrist it, right? There's just so many different reasons why these things happen. Let's not get wrapped around it. So tap the back of it, fire. What I would say is keep it simple. Class 1, Class 2, Class 4, all the same. You're firing, you're in a critical incident, you don't know what it is. Usually the always go to tap, rack, bang, right? Tap, rack, assess, fire if necessary. So you have an out of battery, tap, rack and roll, and assess and fire if necessary. That's it. Simple out of battery, Class 4 malfunction. All right. Now let's talk about a squib load real quick, which technically isn't necessarily a malfunction in the firearm. It's a malfunction in the ammunition. What happens is as you're firing your firearm, it goes off and the bullet, right? The bullet is the piece of the round that actually goes downrange. The bullet gets stuck somewhere in the barrel. That's a bad day, right? Now you have a barrel obstruction. How do you know that that occurred? Well, you're going to hear a pop and not the explosion of the round going off. The pop is more than likely just simply the primer giving it enough force to dislodge from the round, but not to get outside the barrel. Okay, so the round or the bullet gets stuck halfway down the barrel. It's not a real loud explosion. So you're firing, you hear a pop, stop what you're doing. Okay, If you're on the range, stop what you're doing. You don't want to send a second round down range, and now you're having rounds stacked up on each other. You know, I remember shooting some fully automatic MP5s, and one of the SWAT guys come up, and since it's fully automatic, he ended up having a squib round. Man, those bullets just stacked up on top of each other. We ended up taking it down to the forensics lab. They took an x-ray, and you could see about 6 rounds stacked on top of each other. Thank goodness the gun didn't blow up and injure the operator. So if you hear that, it's a pop, stop firing. You don't want to send another projectile downrange. Question is, what if you're in a crisis, in a critical incident? Man, that's going to be a tough call. Obviously, you need to get out of the line of fire, so you need to retreat, find cover. Right? If there is no cover, what you may have to do is just grin and bear it, because depending on where that round is, if it's at the end, another round just might push it out, and bad guy gets 2 for 1, right? If it's at the back, it could blow up in your hand and cause a malfunction. Man, if that happens to me, because the guy's already shooting at me, right? I'm already in a critical incident. My life is already in danger. I might throw the dice and fire a second round and push that squib load out. But that's going to have to be a decision that you make on the fly on these critical incidents. But guys, that's it. Thank you for watching this 4-part series. May God bless you. May God bless these United States of America. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay away from the coronas. We'll see you again.